What starts as a cheerful morning chat quickly spirals into a confrontation that leaves everyone in the studio holding their breath. Today, we're breaking down the explosive moment that saw Kylie Kelce storm off the Today with Jenna and Friends set. After a segment meant to be light and uplifting took an unexpected, tense turn, Kylie arrived ready to discuss her upcoming charity initiatives and share stories about life in the NFL spotlight alongside her husband, Philadelphia Eagles center Jason Kelce. The 20-minute slot promised a feel-good conversation. Jenna Bush-Hager greeted her with a warm, practiced smile. "Kylie, we're thrilled to have you this morning. You look absolutely radiant." Kylie returned the smile, settling in comfortably. "Thank you, Jenna. I'm excited to talk about our foundation and the amazing kids we've been able to help." At first, the discussion flowed effortlessly. Kylie spoke passionately about youth sports programs in underserved communities, telling heartwarming stories that had the studio buzzing with positivity. "It's incredible what you're doing," Jenna said, nodding. "And having Jason's platform really helps amplify your message." Then, the conversation shifted. "Speaking of Jason," Jenna began, a subtle edge creeping into her tone. "There's been a lot of discussion about NFL wives and their involvement in their husbands' careers. Some feel certain wives, particularly the vocal ones, might be crossing boundaries. What's your take on that?" Kylie's expression tightened slightly, but remained composed. "I'm not sure what you're referring to specifically, but supporting your spouse seems pretty normal, don't you think?" Jenna pressed on, leaning in. "Of course, support is wonderful. But some NFL wives are becoming almost as famous as their husbands, sometimes overshadowing the players. How do you balance that?" The air shifted. Kylie's smile became measured, her voice sharper. "Are you suggesting that supporting our husbands somehow diminishes their accomplishments? That's an outdated way of thinking." The studio felt I-10 electric tension. Jenna tried to soften her approach. "No, not at all. I'm just curious about visibility and attention in professional sports. Some feel family prominence can create distractions." Kylie's eyes flashed, her tone cutting. "Distractions? So women supporting their husbands is now considered a distraction? That's really the argument we're making here." Behind the cameras, producers scrambled. Co-hosts exchanged uneasy glances. Jenna's voice took on a defensive edge. "I'm just asking about balance." "It's a legitimate question." Kylie leaned back, arms crossed, her composure fracturing. "Let me be clear. I came here to talk about charity, about helping kids who don't have access to sports programs. Instead, you want to debate whether I'm too visible as a supportive wife. Is that what morning television has become?" The tension reached a breaking point. Jenna shifted uncomfortably. "We're getting off track. I didn't mean it personally." "It is personal." Kylie cut in, her voice firm. "When you suggest that my support is a distraction, you're telling me to sit quietly, in the background, so I don't interfere with my husband's career." One co-host attempted to interject, trying to steer the conversation back. "Maybe we should focus on the foundation work, such an important initiative." But it was too late. The atmosphere was charged, raw, and Kylie Kelce had made her point. She wasn't here to be minimized or criticized. Minutes later, she stood and walked off, leaving the studio in stunned silence and viewers everywhere buzzing with the fallout. But Kylie wasn't about to be deflected. Her gaze locked onto Jenna, sharp and unwavering. "No," she said, voice steady but cutting. "I think we need to finish this conversation. Apparently, there's some standard NFL wives are supposed to meet. I'd love to know exactly what that is. Should we skip games? Pretend our husbands' successes don't matter? Or just pretend we don't exist?" Jenna's face flushed, her usual poise slipping. "That's not what I meant at all. I was asking a broader question about family roles in professional sports. A broader question. Kylie echoed, skepticism dripping from every word. So when you talk about certain wives becoming too famous and overshadowing their husbands, that's just a general observation, not about anyone specific. The studio went silent. Even the audience seemed to hold its breath, sensing a confrontation that would be remembered long after the cameras stopped rolling. Jenna exhaled, trying to regain control. Look, there's been a miscommunication here. I never meant to criticize you personally. I was aiming for a thoughtful discussion on a topic in the news. Miscommunication, Kylie said, bitter laughter in her tone. That's one way to put it. Another would be, you invited me here under false pretenses, only to ambush me about whether I'm a proper NFL wife. That's not fair. Kylie, and you know it. Jenna shot back, her own temper flaring. I've been doing this job for years. I pride myself on asking thoughtful questions. If you can't handle a discussion about your public profile— Excuse me, Kylie interrupted, voice dangerously quiet. Did you just tell me I can't handle television because I objected to inappropriate questions? Jenna's professional mask began to crack. No. I meant public figures expect difficult questions. Difficult questions about my charity work. About helping disadvantaged kids. Those are the ones I prepared for, Kylie said, her voice rising. I didn't prepare to be lectured on how to be a proper NFL wife by someone who's never been married to a professional athlete. Jenna's tone hardened. I don't need to be married to an athlete to notice behavior in the sports world. Some NFL families have been over the top, seeking attention. There it is, Kylie said, sitting straighter. Now we're at the heart of it. You think You think supporting my husband is over the top. You think I should step back so I don't embarrass myself for the NFL? Co-hosts panicked, exchanging desperate glances at producers. One tried to intervene. Maybe a commercial break regroup, but Kylie ignored them. She stood abruptly, chair scraping behind her. Hands on hips, she towered over Jenna. Unbelievable. My husband works his entire life to be one of the best centers in the NFL. And here we are, debating whether I exist or not because I actually show up. Support him and live my life. Jenna's face turned crimson. That is not true. I invited you because I thought viewers would be interested in your foundation work and your perspective on NFL life. Right, Kylie mocked, her voice slicing through the room. My perspective is apparently wrong because I show up and support my husband instead of sitting quietly in the background like some decorative accessory. Producers frantically gestured from behind the cameras. But both women were locked in a battle neither would yield. I never called you a decorative accessory. Jenna shrieked. You're twisting my words. I was trying to have a nuanced conversation about the intersection of personal and professional life. Kylie let out a sharp, derisive laugh. Nuanced. Sure, that's exactly what this is. The studio had transformed into a powder keg. Nothing could cool the fire now. There was nothing nuanced about suggesting supportive wives were distractions or attention seekers. There was nothing nuanced about implying we should stay in our lane and let the men handle the important stuff. I did not say that, Jenna protested, but her words fell flat against Kylie's unyielding glare. You absolutely did, Kylie shot back, voice sharp. And now you're trying to backtrack because you realize how it sounds. But here's the thing, Jenna, I don't need your approval or anyone else's to support my husband. I don't need permission to celebrate his successes. One co-host attempted a lifeline. Kylie, maybe there's a misunderstanding. Perhaps we can find some common ground, have a more productive conversation. Kylie turned her attention toward them, voice calm but resolute. The only misunderstanding here is that I came expecting basic respect. Instead, I've been ambushed with questions designed to make me defend my right to exist as a supportive spouse. Jenna, sensing the last thread of credibility slipping, tried one final justification. Look, I think you're being overly sensitive. These are legitimate questions that people have been discussing in the media. Some NFL wives have become very high-profile, overly sensitive. Kylie's eyes blazed as she stepped closer, her voice dripping with controlled fury. So now I'm overly sensitive because I don't appreciate being ambushed with sexist talking points masquerading as journalism. They're not sexist talking points, Jenna insisted weakly. Oh, they're not. Kylie's tone was razor sharp. So if Tom Brady's father was very vocal in supporting his son, would you question whether he was attention-seeking? Would you say he overshadowed Tom's achievements? The studio fell into a stunned silence. Jenna had no answer. That's what I thought, Kylie said quietly, her voice low but cutting. This whole conversation has been about putting women in their place, telling us we should be seen and not heard. Well, Jenna, I'm not sitting here to be lectured about how to be a proper NFL wife. Jenna tried again, desperation creeping in. Kylie, you're mischaracterizing me. I respect you, and NFL Family's I was just exploring a newsworthy topic. An interesting topic, Kylie repeated. Disgust lacing each word. That's what you call questioning whether supportive wives are appropriate. That's what you call suggesting weird distractions and attention seekers. An interesting topic. The co-hosts panicked openly. The audience shifted in their seats, sensing a confrontation that had gone beyond television decorum. I think we should take a commercial break, one co-host urged. But both women ignored the plea. Kylie began gathering her purse and jacket, movements precise, deliberate. You know what, Jenna? I came here in good faith to talk about helping kids and supporting community programs. Instead, I've been subjected to a thinly veiled attack on my character and my marriage. It wasn't an attack, Jenna protested, voice weak and uncertain. It absolutely was, Kylie said, swinging her purse over her shoulder. And the fact that you can't even admit that makes it worse. You've wasted my time, you've wasted your viewers' time, and you've shown exactly what kind of journalist you are. Jenna's professional facade cracked completely. I don't think that's fair, Kylie. I've been doing this job for years, always professionally. Kylie paused, turned, and fixed Jenna with a final, icy stare. Professionally? Is that what you call this? Because from where I'm standing, this looks like amateur hour masquerading as serious journalism. The words hung in the studio, heavy and undeniable. Silence followed, stunned, electric, and completely leaving everyone frozen as Kylie walked out. Leaving the chaos of the confrontation behind, Kylie adjusted her jacket with deliberate precision, each movement radiating calm authority, a stark contrast to the chaos that had just unfolded. When she spoke again, her voice was steady, carrying unmistakable finality. Here's what I want your viewers to understand, she said, stressing the cameras directly, bypassing Jenna entirely. I am proud of my husband. I am proud of his achievements. I am proud to support him, and I will continue to do so, no matter what anyone thinks. If that makes me too visible or too vocal for some people, that's their problem, not mine. Jenna made one last, desperate attempt to regain control. Kylie, please. I think we can work through this misunderstanding. Why don't you sit down and we can have a more constructive conversation? Kylie faced her expression a mixture of disappointment and resolve. There's no misunderstanding here, Jenna. You know exactly what you were trying to do, and so does everyone else in this studio. You tried to use me to make a point about NFL wives. And when I pushed back, you doubled down instead of acknowledging your approach was wrong. The co-hosts sat frozen, unsure whether to intervene or let events play out. The audience leaned forward, sensing they were witnessing television history in real time. I want to be very clear, Kylie continued, voice resonating across the silent studio. I don't owe anyone an explanation for how I support my family. I don't owe anyone an apology for being visible, vocal, or enthusiastic about my husband's career. And I certainly don't owe anyone the courtesy of sitting quietly. While they questioned my motivations and my character, Jenna's face paled, words barely audible. I never questioned your character, Kylie. You absolutely did, Kylie said, without hesitation. When you suggested I was attention-seeking, you questioned my character. When you implied my support was inappropriate or over the top, you questioned my character. When you told me I couldn't handle difficult questions, you questioned my character. Her words hit like blows. Jenna winced visibly, while producers frantically signaled for a commercial break. Knowing this moment couldn't be interrupted. What's most disappointing? Kylie said, stepping toward the edge of the stage. Is that you had a chance to have a meaningful conversation about the work we're doing to help kids in underserved communities. You could have used this platform to highlight something important, maybe even inspire your viewers to get involved. Instead, you chose to waste everyone's time with questions meant to make me look bad and reinforce outdated stereotypes about how women should behave. That's not journalism, Jenna. That's gossip masquerading as serious television. One co-host tried a final lifeline. Kylie, before you go, is there anything you'd like to say about your foundation work? For a moment, Kylie's expression softened, revealing the warm, passionate woman who had started the interview. Talking about helping children, the foundation is doing incredible work. We're always looking for more people to get involved. Kids deserve access to sports and activities, no matter their circumstances. We're trying to make that happen in as many communities as possible. She looked directly into the camera, sincerity radiating from her every word. If any viewers want to learn more or help, visit our website. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. Not whether I'm too vocal or visible, but whether we're making a difference in kids' lives. The contrast between her sincerity and the earlier conflict was stark. Jenna sat frozen, realizing she had squandered an opportunity to do meaningful journalism. Kylie walked toward the stage steps, pausing one final time. Her voice now held sadness rather than anger. You know what, Jenna? I actually feel sorry for you. You had a chance to highlight important work and make a positive impact. Instead, you chose to attack a woman for supporting her husband. I hope it was worth it. With that, Kylie Kelce walked down the steps and off the stage, leaving a studio of stunned silence behind. The cameras kept rolling as Jenna struggled to process what had just happened. The co-hosts exchanged helpless glances, one finally stammering about a commercial break. But the moment was already seared into memory. Confrontation that would be dissected and discussed for months too. This exchange between Kylie Kelce and Jenna Bush Hager showed exactly what happens when journalism crosses the line into personal attacks. Kylie stood her ground, unflinching and resolute, proving that dignity, principle, and authenticity can command a room of in against live television.